Hello, my name's Jo, this is Joey Sewy and I'm here today to tell you all about what I sewed in June. So if you haven't watched before, thank you very much for being new around here, and if you are a long-time subscriber, thank you even much for being a subscriber. So I do these videos every month and it's just a roundup of all the things I've been sewing in the last month. So we're in 2019, it's currently the 8th of July I think, and I'm going to tell you what I've been sewing in June. I'm actually going to start with what I'm wearing, which I didn't sew in June. This is my Sallie jumpsuit, which I sewed in May and I talked about in my last video. So I'll show you it if you didn't see that video, and even if you did, to refresh your memory. And in that video I asked you, I was wearing it with a long sleeve t-shirt and I was asking, is that okay as a fashion option? And mostly the consensus was what I kind of thought I already knew, which was not really, it didn't make it look its best. It was okay, but it wasn't ideal. So as you saw, it's a short sleeve jumpsuit. It has kimono sort of grown on sleeves. There's no sleeve to insert. And I just took off one of my solutions to this. So that's why I wanted to show you. I got so much advice and people were basically saying, you probably need to wear a cardigan over the top if you're on cooler days. So this is cardigan option 1. I didn't sew this one. But it's a ready-to-wear cardigan I bought specifically to go with this jumpsuit. So it's very lightweight, it's quite flowy. It's not meant to meet at the front, it's meant to sit open. And I quite like that because you can still see the pattern. But it covers up my shoulders and my arms for when it's a little bit chillier. Option number 2 I did sew, and as I pop it on I will tell you what it is. This is the Jenna Cardigan by Muse Patterns. This is in a black cashmere. Now a lot of you mistook the colour of this jumpsuit. The background is black. It does actually look quite blue on camera now I come to think of it. And in real life it doesn't look like I'm wearing black and blue. This background colour is black. It's kind of a washed out black, but it's black. So this cashmere cardigan is a black. It is a much more intense black, but like I say, in real life that contrast isn't quite as much as I'm seeing it come up on camera. So this is more of a cropped cardigan. I can definitely do it up, so I could in theory do it all the way up and then really it just looks like a pair of trousers. That is option number 2. This one I did sew. I didn't sew it this month, I sewed it last year I think in autumn, and I must have shown you it. But like I say, it's the Jenna Cardigan by Muse Patterns, and there'll be a link to that down below. And then the third and final option that I have at the moment, I knitted this one. I don't usually undo it because the buttons are really tricky to do back up, so I will just pop that on. And this again, it's a cropped cardigan. The yarn has some silk in it. Knitted this ages ago. The pattern name is Criollo, and again I will put the link down below. But this the jumpsuit has really funny, I don't know, pink's an odd colour to match, and I think if you wear the wrong pink it looks very wrong. So if you're trying to match pinks, so if we find the rose, there are loads of different pinks in that. Quite an intense dark pink because it's got this mosaic digital print effect. And I think over here this lower rose has got more peachy colours. So I think that this pink and this one, again, camera colours are notoriously difficult to match, but I think we're okay with these two colours. So it has warmed up anyway, so it's not like I'm desperate to wear long sleeve t-shirts like I was when I was filming before. To be honest, I so hate being cold. But yeah, I've got myself 3 cardigan options and I'm looking out for either a washed out black yarn or something in a pink that I can do a jumper, so that in the winter I can still wear this jumpsuit because I'm still loving this jumpsuit. But all of that was about what I sewed in May, and this is a what I sewed in June video, so I'm going to get quickly changed and show you my first make. Here we are. I'll give you a little twirl. It's another Sallie jumpsuit from Closet Case Patterns. So same pattern, realised slightly differently, and I'll talk about what I did differently. But I'll give you a twirl. Here we are, little twirl. Do, 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 do. So do a dance. I have no idea how that looks on camera, but I'm doing it anyway. So yes, this is exactly the same pattern as the last one. It's the Sallie jumpsuit by Closet Case Patterns, and it's made largely the same. So this pattern has pockets. Here are the pockets. The pattern is supposed to be made in knits, which is what this one and that one are made in knits. This is kind of a scuba knit. I'm wondering where my spare fabric is. It's a funny embossed fabric. Let me show you. I always make such a mess of my sewing room when I'm doing these videos because I pull things out I want to show you and I throw things on the floor while I'm getting changed. It's a nightmare. And I tidied up this morning. Anyway, so this is the fabric that I'm wearing. That is the reverse side, which I quite liked. Nearly used it that side out, but didn't for two reasons. One, I thought it'd be a bit boring and I should be braver. But also because it's not intended to be the right side out, I thought I might get problems with bobbling. I'm considering making a cardigan out of what I've got left over because I had quite a lot of fabric. So I might make it black side out when I make the cardigan, and we'll find out if it bobbles. But the good side, or the side that is intended to be used, is this optical illusion print. I've had a lot of compliments wearing this jumpsuit, and a lot of people going, whoa, that makes my eyes go really funny. So if I just broke your TV, I'm very sorry, or broke your phone. But it does have that nature to it. It's kind of, don't stare at me too hard, or at least if you are, stare at my face and not my clothes, which is probably what I want you to do anyway. The way the fabric's made is it's got layers. So it's got a back layer and it's got a front layer. And if you have a look at the edge, you can see that they're kind of bonded to each other. So I guess it's a little bit like a scuba in its nature. But yeah, so that is the fabric. I got it off eBay last year. There isn't any available, so there's not a lot of point me telling you. The seller's not even on eBay anymore, so sorry, no fabric available. But I really love it. It's very easy to wear. I love how it drapes. I love how it fits. I hacked the pattern, or altered the pattern, to have this zip, which is a workable zip. And it was the easiest zip insertion in the history of zip insertions. I will show you. Basically, I sewed it on top. The end. That was it. On the reverse side, I'll show you in a minute, I basically, because this is a knit, it's not going to fray, I just cut out what I didn't need. So I've even got the end of the zipper there unfinished. I did cut it with some pinking shears, so it has got a zigzag end to it. But other than that, I just placed it where I wanted it, sewn around there. The edges are just turned under and sewn down in the V shape, and it works. And although you don't need it to get in and out of the pattern, because the pattern has a neck that is designed to be V here and V at the back, so it's big enough to step in and out of, and it's stretchy fabric. It does actually make it a lot easier because you have to do a bit of a wriggle down with the arms, I've found. There is supposed to be a tie across from here to here, which makes it a bit more secure and less likely to fall off your shoulders. I've actually altered this pattern, which I showed in the last video. So if you want to see in more detail how I altered the pattern, basically lifted the V and brought the neckline in a bit, then look at my What Did I Sew in May. It'll be linked up here and down there. But because of that, it doesn't fall off my shoulders, even though I do have quite sloping and rounded shoulders. It doesn't fall off, but if you made the pattern as intended, it probably would fall off, and you probably would need the tie that goes across here. But the unfortunate thing about the tie, although it stops your clothes falling off, kind of need that, it means that it's even more of a faff to get in and out. And if we go back to the jumpsuit I was just wearing, the reason why I wanted it to be okay to put a long sleeve t-shirt under is because whenever you wear a jumpsuit, there is an inevitable point at which your bladder is going to need you to go to the toilet. And to go to the toilet, let's let's just say it, to go to the toilet in a jumpsuit, you have to essentially get entirely undressed in a toilet cubicle. If you're wearing a jumper over the top or a cardigan over the top, it all has to come off because you've got to take this off and you've got to pull everything down, and it feels really exposed. But there's nothing you can do about it. The end. But it also means that if there's a tie across the back as well, you've got yet another thing to undo and redo up in order to get in and out. So I liked the zip because I think it breaks up the pattern, which is quite full on, and I think if it wasn't there it would look even more full on. I like how the black line breaks it up. I got the zip from eBay from a seller called Zipper Station, which I have used before. They sell zips, but they have a really great selection, and their service has been great. So if you're looking for a zip, then go onto eBay and look for Zipper Station. Again, I'll link down below. I didn't get given it or anything. I paid my actual money for it. I'm just letting you know because they sold me a good product. Yeah, I think that's it about this. I've been wearing this with a cropped jumper over the top on cooler days, or with a cardigan. So again, I've been layering over the top of it and just throwing caution to the wind about my toileting needs. Anyway, probably shared too much even now, and we're only about 10 minutes in. Yeah. What else did I sew? I'll be right back. So the first other things I sewed are things I finished. I showed you these in May as well. I'm totally cheating, aren't I? There is this hoodie, which I made for my son Bertie, which I had sort of finished, but I actually undid a bit and redid it. This has been in his bag going on a French trip. It needs washing, but I needed to film it, so I didn't wash it yet. But what I did was I unpicked the machine stitching that I had done down the side of the zip, and I redid it as hand stitching because it was never going to go under my machine. Far too thick, especially the way that this pattern has a seam here, and then you end up with masses of bulk. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 layers plus zip at that point. And similarly down here with the cuffing. So I've kind of mimicked, I'll see if I can show you, I've sort of mimicked what a machine stitch looks like. I'll try and show you a bit that's not got food on it. So it's not the neatest in the world, but it's also neater than my machine stitching was. So up here, this line is machine stitching. Down here, that's my hand stitching. On the inside, not so ideal. There we go. On the inside, not so ideal, but on the outside, much better. So that's what I went with. On Felix's, I had... Hello, I'm going to have to throw that on the floor. I told you I'd make a mess. On Felix's, you didn't see this finished because it wasn't finished last month. So there is his hood with the leopard skin in. Struggling to get him to wear it because he won't put anything warm on in summer because it's too hot. I might be able to get them to model it, and if I can, there will be video inserted. But if there's no video inserted, don't be surprised, because it'll be because I haven't been able to get them to put these things on. But this time I did a zigzag instead. So let me focus on that so you can see. So that is machine stitching, and I decided to do a zigzag. This fabric was much thinner anyway, so it wasn't as difficult to sew. It's the same problem, that there is a seam here, and it creates a lot of bulk to try and go over. And the machine did skip a stitch there, but overall I'm much happier with the zigzag finish. I guess I probably could have put it under my cover stitch, because I have a cover stitch which I did the pocket detail with. There's the pocket detail. I do have a cover stitch, I'm very lucky, but I wasn't sure that that would actually deal with the bulk either, because although it's a fancy machine and it will go over a bit more bulk than your average sewing machine, I wasn't going to risk it, because the problem with all of this is that you do it as the last process in making the garment. So if it goes wrong, you've just ruined everything. So I finished that in June as well. The next item you have had a sneaky peek of if you watch all my videos, because I was wearing this in my June favourites video. Let's get it on. So I am going to style it over my jumpsuit because I'm too lazy to go and find something else to style it with. It is the Morningside shirt and dress pattern from French Navy. Yes, I think I got that right. The caption will be right and I'll put a link to it. So it can be a shirt dress. Essentially that's just longer than what I have on. So let me step back and show you. It doesn't look right with these trousers, I know. I tend to wear it tucked in. If you imagine it with jeans, that will look better. I did the hidden placket version, so that means that there are buttons, ta-da, but you can't see them. It has frilly sleeves as one of the options, and that's what I did. There they are. So the sleeves are supposed to be drop shoulder, and then you can have a cuffed sleeve or you can have frilly sleeves, and I went for the gathered sleeves. I have quite short narrow shoulders, so I didn't mind adding bulk. If you have broad shoulders, this is a lightweight cotton. It's cotton shirting, so anything but the drapiest fabric is going to stick out like that, because this is quite a lightweight fabric. I got this in Lanzarote, so it's featured in my recent Lanzarote haul video if you are interested. It has a collar, which I'm not sure if I sewed with the right seam allowance, because it's come out very thin, which I quite like, but I'm not 100% sure that was the intended style, so don't know. I like how it's turned out. I hand sewed the hem. I hand sewed the hem. You probably can't see the stitches. I kind of hope you can't, because that's the point. So yeah, invisible stitches because they were hand sewn. And I hand sewn around here because I wanted it to be as lightweight as possible to try and get it to do some draping. So I like the style. The pattern I would kind of give about 7 out of 10. I've made the Calais shirt from Closet Case Patterns, and if you watch a lot you will know I love their patterns, and I particularly love their instructions and their ways of doing things. And the Calais shirt has a half placket option, which I have made. In fact, it's that stripy thing over there. I've made it a few times. That one's waiting to be altered because I don't like the length. Anyway, I've done it via their technique. I've never done their hidden placket technique, but I know they have one. But I didn't find the instructions for this to be all that clear. So if you would like to make the shirt, I would recommend the pattern. If you like the style, I would say go for it. But skip to the Closet Case Patterns instructions on how to do a half placket, and it will be on their blog. I will link down below. So you don't have to have bought the Calais shirt pattern. You can go to their sew along on their blog for the Calais shirt, and it will tell you how to do both a half placket and a hidden placket, because it doesn't have to be a complicated process if you get an explanation that your head understands. And we all understand things in different ways, and maybe that's why I didn't get this way of doing things. But I've done the Closet Case Patterns technique, which they didn't invent, just the one that they use, and that one made sense to me and made it very clear. So I might have struggled if I hadn't done that first. But generally, I love this shirt. I've been wearing it a lot. It is this mid sort of sky blue with red sewn in, well, woven in dots. And I love the fabric. It's really great. I can see me wearing this year after year. I could layer it with a long sleeve t-shirt underneath in the winter, because I do that with everything. But yeah, really love that. So I'm going to take it off now because I wouldn't normally wear it over a jumpsuit, but I wanted to show you guys, of course. Now, June has been a really funny month, and I am still left with a lingering sense that I have sewn something this month that I haven't shown you, but I can't think what it is yet. Oh no, there are 2 things I haven't yet shown you, but I've gone around and I just can't think what I haven't found to show you, but I'm sure there's something, because it felt like I sewed a million things and I haven't shown you a million things. But anyway, clearly mind wipe. These, I'm not going to wear them because these are my pyjamas, but these are Franken pyjamas. That's what I'm calling them. Basically, I needed some new pyjamas, and a while ago I made a Schnitzen pattern, if that's how you say it, German company. It's German for cutting, apparently. It's actually supposed to be a t-shirt or a dress, and I have made it as a t-shirt. The dress is not really my, well, I thought it wasn't my style. I don't know, maybe one day if I'm in a dress mood I might make it. But anyway, I have found I love it for pyjamas. So that is the pattern. It's called Lacer, if that's how you say it. It is a raglan sleeve dress, and I'll tell you why it's ideal for pyjamas. Most of the reason is because it has massive armholes, so when you're wriggling around in bed, your arms aren't constricted. It's very comfortable. It does have quite a tight neck, so if that isn't something that you like, then you'll want to cut the neckline a bit wider. It's all sized for knits, so you would just cut the whole neckline a bit wider and then make your neckband the correct size. And I've done a tutorial on how you do that, so I will link to that. The reason why these are called Franken pyjamas is because if you look closely, it doesn't have to look that closely, there are seams all over the place. So there's one there across the front and down the front, and then on the back there is one there, and there is one here, and then there is also one down there. And you can see that this fabric I dyed as an experiment a while ago and it came out patchy, but these are pyjamas. I don't care. What I was doing was I was trying to use up lots of knit scraps, which really weren't ever going to be used for anything else, but I didn't want to throw them away because that would be too depressing. So I made 3 sets, and I can insert a picture of all of them. Here's the second one. Again, same theory, different colour arms, neckband, body. Actually, the front and back body are slightly different fabrics, slightly different navies. And then you can see here that the back section, this light blue, is one size, and then the front it's another size. So I got my pattern and I got my fabric, and I thought, okay, well those colours go together-ish, and I can sew those bits of fabric together almost like a bit of just patchwork, and then I can cut the pattern pieces out like that, and it will be not too pieced together, but I'm just cutting and pasting basically to make pyjamas. So the third pair, I've been wearing those in rotation, so the third pair are in the wash. Now, yes, the last thing I'm also not going to put on because it's unwearable. I have been working on the Palisade pants by Papercut patterns because I got some fabric. I've recently joined the Minerva Crafts blogger network, which is very exciting because it gives me access to free fabric in return for blog posts. Obviously, where I'm showing you that sort of thing, I'll always let you know. It's only actually about blog posts, so I don't have to post it on here, but I'm likely to tell you about them. But I'll always let you know when I've got the fabric for free. None of this fabric is for free because I was only making a toile. I measured myself and made a total mess of the measurements and cut out the wrong size, or at least the right size for my waist and the wrong size for my hips. And when I cut it out, it looked like this. And as you can see, it's open down one of the centre front seams. So these pants are made with 3 leg pieces, inside front, side and inside back. So you've got 6 pieces for each leg. And the waist fitted beautifully on the first pair. I could pull them up because you're supposed to try them on before you've sewn them all up, and that was lucky because if I had sewn them all up, I would not be able to have pulled them up. Literally wouldn't have got them over my thighs. The actual garment is here, and what I love about it is the pockets. This is what actually made me want to make them. Oh look, that's making the camera go very weird. Clearly specialising in weird fabric. This fabric is from what people call deep stash. I've had it years, possibly over a decade. I had hoped that it would be a wearable toile, but it wasn't. And then after it looked like it looked on the picture, I took out the elastic to use in the eventual pair of pants that I will make, because there was no point leaving perfectly good elastic in here. So now it's really not a wearable toile, and to be honest, it's only still here so I can show you. So there were 2 things about the fitting, or 2 things I've discovered so far. The first is I made a mistake. It has a faux fly front as well, and the mistake was that I just mismeasured my own hips and took off 7 centimetres, which would be nice, but it's not the shape I am. And also, obviously the size of your hips influences the size of the thighs somewhat. So because I'd cut out a size that was too small for my hips, it was also way too small for my thighs. So in that picture, the only reason why I can pull one leg up is because everything, centre front seam, centre back seam was all being pulled across here, and if you saw me moving in these and I'd bent my leg, I could bend it. I wasn't going to try it many times because I was probably going to rip it. I would say, so everything was pulling over. I did make another toile after that, and when I'd finished it looked like this. It was made out of a bedsheet, and basically I skewed way too far in the opposite direction, and so that was far too big. So in July I'm working on making the third version, which hopefully will fit, and I will let you know how I changed the fit and how it went. Now, as I said, I am sure there was something else, but I cannot for the life of me think what it is. So perhaps it's just a figment of my imagination. I don't know. But thank you very much for watching all the way to the end of the video. Thank you very much if you took part in my recent pattern giveaway. I have now given away all the patterns I had to give away, but it was to celebrate the fact that I now have over 5,000 people subscribed to this channel, which is just mind-blowing and such a privilege. So thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for watching all of the videos, and I will be back again really soon with something else. Bye for now.